Good morning to most, good afternoon to others, and good evening to the viewing audience across the pond. I am your host, Jason Miles, and welcome to another episode of Pop Life, brought to you by This is Revolution Podcast. If you're new to the channel, which you probably are because we never go live on Mondays, welcome. So glad to have you here. If you are a returning listener, subscriber, or one of our very valued patrons, fuck yeah! So glad to have you here on a very special day. I do have to say that this show couldn't have worked out for a worse time for me. As you see, I am wearing my, wrong side, right side, Denver Bronco jacket. My Broncos, who were predicted to only win 4 games this season, made it to the playoffs, but met a very difficult Buffalo Bills team. I did not think they were going to win. If you watch the show I did on location at the Rainbow in LA, where the first 10 minutes was sports, and then I did flirt with the waitress for a long time because I'm single and I can. But if you did, then you know I was not confident that they could get through Buffalo in Buffalo, because I do think a Bills-Lions or a Bills-Vikings Super Bowl is maybe not what the NFL wants, but it's what I want. But the sports talk is for Wednesday. Today is Monday. So real quick, we have a essay. We have an essay series here on This is Revolution called The Crisis Papers. Our 5th issue is out now, and it is called Second Time Around, musings on how we got the second presidency of Donald Trump. Wherever you are watching or listening to the show, there's links in the description to that. Also, all of the TIR video essays are now exclusively being streamed on Means TV. And if you use the discount code, This is Revolution, all caps, you can get 20% off a monthly subscription to Means TV to watch just not the video essays, but all the other amazing programming that they have on there. It is a leftist station, and I'm very honored to be proud of it. And also, Means TV is where you're going to see kayfabe. Episode 1 is done. I'm still waiting for the final edits. Oops, that's true. That's how I feel about it. It's taking so long. 3 years so far we've been working on this. 3 years. But let's talk about music. What the hell is metalcore? And I think that's what I'm going to call this series. When we talk about genres, I literally changed the title of the hair metal show that we did. Call it What the Hair is Hair Metal. I can't even talk right now. What is metalcore? Bear with me now. It's going to be a longer introduction, but bear with me now. With the 60s ending on a sour note in the U.S. with the Manson murders and the killings at Altamont, the utopian vision of the counterculture would be replaced by adult contemporary individualism. We were heading into the post-hippie moment where people wanted to express their identity through their musical and consumer choices. Advertising and, of course, the record industry took advantage of this, leading us into the me decade. Record labels had found success in the 60s with the rise of the FM radio format, which allowed DJs more freedom to play longer cuts off albums that didn't fit within the AM singles format. An album-oriented rock was born. The industry now could create more genres and sell more records to a diffuse record buying populace. If the medium is the message by the 80s, cable television went into the music industry and found that with MTV, a 24-hour channel dedicated to playing music around the clock. Quickly, video killed the radio star as a new crop of much more image-oriented artists started to dominate the charts, supplanting the once dominant smooth sounds coming out of Laurel Canyon. And as you guys know, I am on a Laurel Canyon kick. I did wake up today and listen to Steely Dan again. I can't stop, and I won't stop. I'm sure you're saying, Jason, what does this bullshit history lesson have anything to do with metal? Of course, as MTV becomes more dominant, as the format in which people discover and consume music, image becomes paramount. We see the rise of pop metal in the heavy genre that will later be known as hair metal in the mid 80s with hair being the most important part of the music. Most of it was vapid and forgettable, but it was the look of the band that people were after. The music was secondary to the iconography. While heavy music was having its identity crisis throughout the 80s with the over-the-top antics of hair metal morphing into pop music with guitar solos and spandex, it will be replaced by the diverse heavy sounds coming out of Seattle known as grunge. But what would grunge give way to? And before I continue, yesterday, Conan Neutron and I did a fabulous episode with Scholar, the original Anglo pessimist, even though he's not an Anglo, and you guys are racist for calling him that. Daniel Bessner. What the hell is grunge? Check that out. And also, wherever you're watching or listening to this show, there is a playlist. So yesterday we made a grunge playlist, and early this morning, because I've been up since 6, made a metalcore playlist. And you tell me what the fuck it is. Well, for some, the death of Cobain in 94 was the death of rock music. Now, of course, rock and heavy music still exists, but there is a mask-off moment where everyone understands that the medium in which people digest music is visual and image is everything. Nu metal had a moment in the late 90s and early 2000s, but its run would be short-lived as well. The heavy music underground never stopped churning out new and inventive music, and melding of heavy thrash metal and some more extreme styles of metal would mix with hardcore, and a new sound was born, metalcore. Guitar solos were back. Extreme vocals combined with clean vocals would bring tons of new bands to the fold, but it too would be dominated by image-first bands. Was it hair metal 2.0? Today, we're going to be speaking to someone that was there from this heavy music inception. While I don't know if the moniker metalcore is the best descriptor of the music that our guest and his contemporaries like Converge, the Dillinger Escape Plan, Under Oath, and so many created, since there is a real diversity of sound in those bands. This music caught my ear when I thought a lot of heavy music was becoming simple and formulaic, and my music heroes were making radio-friendly heavy rock radio music. This metalcore, if you will, wasn't a return to the heaviness of the heyday of thrash in the mid-'80s. It was something totally different and interesting. While many fans of heavy music, mostly the older ones, understand the metalcore genre to be one that is just a bunch of Hot Topic knockoff bands, our guest and all of the bands that he's in and his musical contemporaries have constantly pushed the genre in some creative sonic directions while never sacrificing musical integrity or heaviness. So please welcome our guest and guitarist of the very influential Every Time I Die, and now a badass all-star metal supergroup, Better Lovers. Please welcome Jordan Buckley.
Hello.
What up, dude?
Hi.
Was that introduction good enough?
That was your voice is so soothing. You got sound effects, you're prepared, you got sponsors. Like this is above and beyond. I went to Target to buy a mic because I've for some reason been doing a lot of podcasts lately, and I'm like, I should actually sound like I'm not on the phone, and I can't even get it to work. So I'm so out of my league right now. That was amazing.
It's more common than you think.
And right, but I want it to be above the common. I want it to be like, oh, when you talk to Jordan, you can actually hear what he said.
Well, I can hear you just fine.
Perfect.
Don't you dare worry about me hearing you.
Promise.
We can hear you just fine.
I will return this thing to Target, and I will come back, and we will do this all again if we have to.
I do want to ask you a little bit about when you started, because you start with your band Every Time I Die around 98, was it?
Yeah.
And you released your first EP, The Burial Plot Bidding War, and you're from Buffalo.
Yes.
What was the scene like during that time? Were big labels receptive to what was happening? because a lot of the early heyday of what we're going to call metalcore feels like kind of the early days of hardcore in the 80s, where there was no major label interest whatsoever. So it was a lot of small labels.
Oh, for
And it was a
sure.
very regional sound. So what was it like? How did you, let me stop asking a million questions. So
Yeah.
let's go back to 1998.
Okay.
How old are you when you start the band?
16.
Whoa.
Yeah, and man, you know when you're a kid and you're just kind of you have that like I don't fit in kind of thing.
Yes.
It's a very common thing. I don't know if everyone goes through it, but I
I think
definitely
everyone
did.
goes through it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone goes through it, and I found my place in the Buffalo hardcore scene, and I was so young, and everyone was, it was so cool to me, and everyone was older than me, and it's just like I want to do that, I want to be them, I want to just, you know, I really gravitated towards it. I loved it.
Mhm.
I liked the music. I loved the energy. I loved the community. I loved just the fact that it was like this underground like secret club almost. And I think
Mhm.
that's why most people try to gatekeep it, because you really did feel like you were a part of a special club when you went to your first hardcore show. And I was lucky enough to start going at a really young age, and I had this conversation with my friend the other day about how like what were my parents thinking? Like this was like pre cell phones, pre internet, just like dropping me off and like picking me up like 6 hours later. Like this is insanity, but it all worked out. I guess if you can consider this working out, 43, still doing it.
Well, that's that, you know, we talk about that a lot on this show because when I do music shows, I usually do it with another friend of mine who's the same age as me. I'm 47, and
Oh wow, you look
he's
great.
oh, thank you. He still tours, and I haven't. The last tour I did was 2019, and it was North America. It was US and Canada. And I remember we were so mad at the headliner, and they got in an accident. They had their stuff in our van that
Ooh.
I was throwing their shit out in the street in New Mexico.
Pitching a
And
fit, you know?
and I was like, maybe I'm done with this bullshit at this age.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It never gets easier. You just
no.
get better at dealing with the hard of it, I guess is the best way to say it.
And you're in a group now with a lot of different. Well, most of it is your old group.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know if you want to bounce around too much. I don't know how you want to do
we can bounce. Yeah, we don't have to be linear.
chronologically. I mean, we
We don't
just
have to
went
be.
from age 16 to 43 pretty
So
quick. So I
40.
don't want to, I'll let you steer the ship. I'll let you steer the ship.
Well, you know, I do want to talk a little bit about, you know, when your band starts kind of quote unquote making it within the scene, because I think
Mhm.
everything is relative, right?
Right.
Like if you think about a scene like I'm from the Bay Area, I was telling you before, and I got to know a lot of the thrash metal guys, and listening to their stories are so interesting because they didn't have to do a lot of the touring that maybe like we did, where you get in the van and you just
Oh,
go
and you
all over
got
the
to.
country, or you save up your money and you go
Mhm.
overseas, or you go to South America and all this other stuff that I've done on a extremely shoestring budget with no label support. Those guys got record deals relatively quick. I think Metallica was in like their third or fourth year of existence, and they get that Aussie tour,
Mhm.
which really breaks them. And
Yeah.
it was just a different world for those guys, and I
Right.
feel like we kind of came up maybe too late because we didn't make that get our
Like too
records
late.
out. Yeah.
Like we came up like too late to like make money off of our music, but too early to, um, not get pissed off when, when the internet boom came around and everything was free. So you're like right in that like sweet
Yeah.
spot of like, fuck, if it was 10 years earlier, I would be a millionaire because people would have to like buy my music. But if it was, 10 years later, then I wouldn't even know about that. So I wouldn't care. So like we're in that sweet spot of like where we can be where we know about it, but we never got to actually enjoy it. So it carved me and sculpted me, and
Mhm.
I wouldn't change it for the world. I love the fact that if you wanted people to know about your band, you had to drive to their city and play for
Yes,
them.
you did.
That was it just makes you a harder worker. And we, right now our band prides itself on our work ethic, that we absolutely never would have gotten if we weren't, 5 people that had to, like I said, get in your face if we wanted you to hear us. Everyone now is, it's almost harder because you have to compete for attention with literally everyone, with the internet. But back in, early 2000s, late 90s, you just had to work hard, and you had to travel more, and you had to miss more school, and you had to, work real jobs less. And, you take advantage of opportunities. And so you could kind of gauge your success, gauge your trajectory a little easier than you could just like nowadays. It's, analytics on, well, what's the number of this? What's the number of listeners? What's the number of engagements? What's the number of viewers? Like I liked, the best lessons in life. I like touching the stove. You know what I mean? I like that's how I learned all my lessons the best. And so that's what it was in the late 90s. It was just a lot of stove touching.
So you released the first EP in '98. What's the reaction from it, from the fans? Are you getting out? I saw. Look, I can only read about this because I wasn't there, and I'm from a whole different side of the planet. It says your first show was in Canada, in Ontario.
Yeah. Okay, so Andy Williams, our guitar player, was Buried Alive's merch guy.
Oh,
and
okay.
So Buried Alive and Scott Vogel just took care of us. Like, it was great, like they gave us our first show, which was at a record store in Canada. They gave us, they're the reason we got on Ferret, because Scott gave our demo to Carl when they were on tour. Anytime we were like our first year of leaving town, whether it was Chicago or, Massachusetts or Erie, I feel like Buried Alive was involved somehow. And so that is just how it should be done. That is just passing your knowledge down, helping out, making the paving the way, making the path easier for the people coming up after you. And I think it's not a coincidence that Scott Vogel and Terror are in like the biggest hardcore band ever now. The guy's got great karma. He's a great person. He's very helpful. And that kind of positive energy and compassion and helpfulness, it comes back to you. And so, I can't say enough great things about him. I can't wait till we play shows with him again. And Every Time I Die, like you said, it would not have been, probably without Scott Vogel and Buried Alive, we probably would have just stayed in Buffalo. We had a great thing going in Buffalo, and we definitely started getting interest with this. Actually, the people that put out that 5-song was a Canadian label. So I think just the fact that we played that first show at a Canadian record store is the reason we got on that label. And it just, it snowballs and snowballs and snowballs. The scene was like, it was cool because we loved that Coalesce, Dead Guy, Converge, Dillinger pop that was kind of happening. And it was weird because I always considered us a hardcore band, just because if you came from the Buffalo hardcore scene and you went to Buffalo hardcore shows and you had shirts that said Buffalo hardcore on them, and you played with other Buffalo hardcore bands, you just consider yourself Buffalo hardcore band. And obviously, as time would go on, I think genres got a little bit more defined and people started taking them a little bit more seriously, and the umbrella kind of got a little bit smaller. But I've always considered Every Time I Die a hardcore band, even though we don't sound like Terror or Buried Alive. But that's just that's how the scene was, is that Converge could come to town, play a hardcore show with hardcore bands at the hardcore venue, and you wouldn't leave being like, well, they got this kind of vocals, they got this kind of guitar, they got this kind of drumming. I don't know if that's not that doesn't sound like my Mad Balls and my Youth of Today's and Sick of It Alls, and no one was really as tied to names as they may be right now, and so it was nice that we could develop and kind of stick out, and maybe that's why we were kind of we had such early success, is because we stuck out, and we were always trying to do things that weren't being done. As bad as we wanted to just be a Converge ripoff band, we also wanted to, put our own spin on it, and we would just kind of cultivate that through the next couple decades.
That kind of got into my next question, like how you would describe your sound. I do think there's this thing that happens around that Dillinger Dead Guy, like you said, coalesce time, where there's just this crazy music where it's super dissonant. Time signatures are all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of don't know what to expect, and that's what I really liked about the genre, if you will. I don't even know if it's because so many bands sound so different within that umbrella. But I do feel you on that we're just going to call it hardcore. Like, again, if you think about the early days of punk, bands like the B-52s were a punk band.
Right, yeah.
So it was just whatever was different at the time. And I like I said, I made a playlist of stuff, of most of it from like the mid 2000s, because I do think the mid 2000s is kind of a heyday, if you will, because some of the bigger groups are playing bigger rooms. Like I was telling you off air, I met you, and I think on that Under Oath tour, you guys were probably in like 5,000 seaters.
Yeah, they were. Better Lovers just did a tour with them last year. Under Oath's been doing very well for a very long time. I remember we did our first Warped Tour, maybe our second Warped Tour ever, and that was like 2008. There's not Chasing Safety, but the one after it, Define the Great Line.
Define the Great Line, yeah.
Yeah, that one came out on Warped Tour, and it was number fucking 2 on the Billboard charts, and it sold like 99,000 copies its first week. And so, like, number 2, I forget who was number 1, but it was obviously just a big, like a Kelly Clarkson or something. And it opens your eyes. And I've always been a fan of that. I know that kind of contradicts what I said earlier about like wanting to keep it a secret club, but once you kind of start traveling around, you start wanting your friends to succeed, and you kind of want to start. You're rooting for them. You know that if they raise the tide, it raises all the other boats. The first taste, or at least not taste, but the first example I can think of, I remember like maybe 2000. I don't know what it was, but Poison the Well got a Kitty tour. And Kitty was on MTV, and Poison the Well was a hardcore band. And that was like, it just floored everyone I knew, myself included. Like, wait a minute, these worlds are colliding. This hardcore is now, the bridge has fallen, and the masses have stormed the gates, and there it is. There it goes. Goodbye. But yeah, you can't keep it hidden forever. Bands that are good are gonna reach the people that they're supposed to reach, and sometimes that's a lot of people. And I'm an advocate of that.
No, it's if you can get on a bigger tour, get on a bigger tour. I mean,
right. Yeah,
you're not going to turn down if Metallica, hey, we need you to open. Like, okay, sure,
yeah, exactly.
I have no problem playing in front of, as the doors open, 40,000 people.
Right, because you got to think about. I mean, I've had a lot of time to think about stuff like that, and it's like when every time that I broke up, and I was like, fuck. Maybe we should have sold out, because I got a mortgage to pay. It's like all the not selling out. What that was during my dark times, when every thought was going through my head. But it was just like, damn, maybe we should have charged people for VIP meet and greets because here I am in my 40s, fucking. I can't tell the that you can't. That's not going to pay your bills. You can't call up fucking Verizon and be like, yeah, but I didn't sell out.
I kept it
okay.
real.
Well, then you don't have to pay your bill. But
I think. Would you agree though? Because I'm not a big fan of the idea of selling out, because I did get to meet so many of my musical heroes and had a lot of that ideology crushed as I met them, and not thinking they were bad people, but kind of understanding that maybe they kind of had a cottage industry formed out of not being able to get into the mainstream, because when they did it for so long that after a while you become iconic, and now you can play these special Vans parties and corporate sponsored venues and get all the gear and all that stuff.
I have always considered selling out to be doing what you don't want to do for money. I think if you actually want to do it and you get paid, please get your bag. I think it's just a bad way to live to go, I'm going to put everything into this. I'm going to sacrifice my body. I'm going to sacrifice my relationships. I'm going to sacrifice my time. Oh, and I don't deserve to live well at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a gray area once you start to get into that. Well, is this going to make me look fucking stupid, or is this going to hurt what we're trying the art, what we're trying to do? I've never been in a band that has done the pay to meet us thing, and that's not even like a selling out thing. That's not even like a music thing. That's just that's a human thing. Like, I don't think people should have to pay to meet me. I'm at the merch table, every show. I'm hanging out after every show. That's not even like a music industry career thing. That is just what? No, I'm grateful you're here. Like, I'm glad, like, I want to thank you. You don't have to pay to thank me. So, but if I started doing that, I would consider that selling out, because I would be doing something I did not want to be doing just for money. Having said that, if you're a person and you're just like, my fan base is too big, they're too crazy, I need to cut it down. I want to meet them, but I want to meet them in a safe way. I want to take pictures with them, but and then, there's just the fact that maybe it does make other people happy. Maybe people have expendable some income, and they go, you know what? I worked hard for this money and I want to spend it getting a picture with this person. Then you got to take that into consideration. Maybe you really are helping out someone. Maybe you really are making their day. So it's kind of just a case by case basis. Same kind of goes for tours. Like, if you're gonna do a fucking shitty tour with a shitty band with shitty people in it because they fucking pay you well, then you might start going, well, what else is on the table? Or at least
so you're saying so you won't do a 5-finger death punch tour?
I don't know enough. I don't know enough.
I'm just teasing. I'm totally teasing.
I know their bass player is a nice guy. He messages me on social media, but I don't know enough about them to.
A good friend of mine works for them, and I actually went out to one of their shows when they just recently came here to San Diego. Okay. So I went up across the border, and Manson. I'd never seen Manson perform, and Manson was the main support. And that was actually kind of cool. He's got a really good band.
Was Reba with him?
Yes. Cool. This was like a few months ago. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I've not been able to check that out yet.
No, it's good. It was really good, actually. I will say this.
Reba rules.
As a person that apparently has sold out, you have to pay to meet me. If you come to the live podcast, you have to pay to meet me.
Oh, am I? Damn it. Do you charge for meet and greets? That's
our booking agent. The booking agent I had when I was doing music books us for live podcasts, and there's a meet and greet. Yeah.
Well, no, then you're getting more. Okay, I'm not backpedaling. I'm just saying, when you do that, and I've said this before, you gotta if you're giving them an experience. The live podcast thing, hell yeah. Like I've been on tour with bands that 4 Years Strong, Taking Back Sunday, they'll give you a show too. So it's like I said, make it give them something. Make it an
We didn't think
experience.
anybody. You want to hear something funny? We didn't
Yeah.
think anyone was going to show up, Jordan,
Yeah.
to the meet
Yeah.
and greet, because we didn't see the numbers, right?
Uh-huh.
And so our first live thing we did was in LA, and so we were backstage, and one of the front of house people was like, "Oh, there's people here if you guys want to meet them." And I figured maybe like a couple people, and we get there and there's like this room full of people.
Fuck yeah!
And I was like,
for you.
I was weirded out.
Yeah,
because I'm talking to you on the screen, right?
Yeah.
I talk to everybody on the screen. I don't know what the fuck anyone looks like. I don't know if anybody's watching, right? I ran out of the room.
Right, dude. Well,
I was like,
I have done meet and greets, and it's it's as awkward as you think it is. Like that's another reason is like, why don't we just kind of maybe hang out? Like, I want to fucking play video games. Like you're like Ricky Bobby. Like I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of that. So
yeah, no, it is because people are telling you things that someone, hey, remember when you said blah blah blah? I'm like, nah, man, I
right. Oh my god,
I say crazy shit. I literally make a living now saying insane bullshit and making dick jokes. So
right. If you think I can
profound,
remember every single thing I've said, you're fucking out of your mind. Yeah.
But I appreciate you remembering it, and now I should work on my bit.
Right. Well, that's great. No, I get it, man. I get it. It's times are changing, and like I said, get that fucking money however you can. And
we don't do too many live podcasts, and actually, one of the guys I do the live thing with, I convinced him to move down to Mexico while he was going through his divorce, and he's about to do a live thing in LA Saturday again.
Okay.
Which, it's all meet and greet. We'd rather do stuff like that where we just show up at a bar and hang out with people. We do a thing on Valentines Day for single dudes. Like,
that's cool.
Come meet us at the fucking Rainbow, and we'll all hang out and talk about
that's cool. We're trying to like make Better Lovers is trying to like make Valentine's Day our thing, because it just kind of makes sense, and it's too late in the year to like put a show together, but we're gonna try to get some sort of like Valentine's Day package where you get like chocolates and like fucking merch and a condom and fucking who knows what else. But then like next year we're already planning like, okay, let's like have like a romantic dinner, and then that turns into a Better Lovers show kind of thing. Like we have a lot of bad ideas, and the 20% that are good ones, or they're fun, and I think this might be one of the 20% that's a good one. So.
I'm on board for a Better Lovers speed dating Valentine's Day extravaganza.
Whoa!
There you go.
Whoa! With me.
There you go.
Everyone else is married, I think.
Yeah. Speed dating with Jordan.
Fuck yeah. While speed metal plays in the background.
There you go. It's only metal from 86 to 87. It's just
we have the Circle Pit, and that's fucking awesome, man. Well, yeah, that's cool. That's cool that you guys are doing that. So yeah, I mean, I do back the giving people a nice experience for your time.
But there's a difference between that and Kiss, right? Because a friend of mine
exactly.
She started in this heavy music world, and now she does like a VIP coordinator for like what's that chick's name? It's really big. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift.
Is that it?
And there's rules to those things, like you can't touch them.
Oh, for sure.
They're extremely expensive, thousands and thousands of dollars.
Didn't Travis Barker do that too? Like he had his own. I saw him getting a little guff online because he like on a Blink tour, like he had his own separate thing, and it was very pricey. But fuck, I mean, if people want to, that's kind of an example of like he can't just go out and meet people. and that's like a whole different lifestyle, you know. That's a whole different lifestyle that I know nothing about, and it's terrifying, and I'm glad I know nothing about it. I'm so glad I live out in the fucking desert. I can go anywhere at any time. Even when I go to shows, you know, I'll see people in Better Lovers shirts. I'll fucking hang out with them. Like the idea that there's a level of celebrity that you can't even leave your house. Yeah, fucking pay me $500 to meet me, because this is hell. This is fucking hell. If I can't leave my house, then yeah, you're gonna pay me to fucking.
It's weird when because I think I told you I lived in this studio where there were some massive stars in the studio, and they would never come during business hours. Right? Like Faith No More was there, but you would never see Mike Patton during business hours. He'd be there, you know, 4 or 5 hours before we opened. Because if he just went to the bathroom, someone would, you know, peek their head out of their door or something. It's like, oh, dude, Mike Patton, what's up? Are you practicing? Can I listen to you practice? And
for
you know
sure.
what I mean? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then put their ear up against the wall. Yeah, I had one time my therapy appointment had to get moved because I live out Scottsdale, and there's a lot of celebrities live out here because there's no TMZ, and like it's beautiful. The scenery is beautiful, the weather's beautiful, and there's no paparazzi. So there's actually like a lot of celebrities that live out here. And yeah, one time I had therapy, and she had to move it because a celebrity that she was working with had an emergency appointment, and I couldn't like see them in the waiting room. Like they needed like an hour before and like an hour after, so that no one could even like know that they go to therapy. And I was like,
crazy.
It's like, well, now you're making me want to come in and sit.
Now I do want to see who it is.
Yeah.
Fuck your client privilege.
That would be early.
Tell me. Yeah, no, you know what? Music venues are like that. I worked at a music venue in San Francisco called the Great American Music Hall, and there were moments where it was like, "Hey, Robert Plant is downstairs, so no one go downstairs until you know they leave," and yada yada yada. It's like, oh, okay,
yeah, I mean, again, that is just a level I can't even comment on it, because who knows, man? If I had to spend my life in that under that kind of microscope, it might break me to the point where I'm just like, okay, let's just clear every fucking hallway. But luckily, I'm not there.
Well, let me ask you, because I know you don't have much time.
No, I know I'm good. I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, you guys did some Warped Tours, about 6.
I believe so. We did 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. 7.
Warped Tour, I don't know if people understand Warped Tour that aren't musicians. It's routed for buses. It's the hottest, worst places you want to be in America. The porta potties fill by noon. Your slot changes daily. Can you explain the grind of Warped Tour and what did it do for you?
I fucking loved Warped Tour. I know the Warped Tour is getting a lot of shit because, and I don't know why, firsthand, you know, this is just what I hear in passing or what I'll see when I will occasionally scroll through social media. But I think, and I can't even like name specifics because they never happened on a year I was on it, but I think some bands got creepy with some fans. And I never had that experience. I've never been in a band that got creepy with girls, with their fans, and I've never been on a tour where I, you know, saw that or knew that was happening. But also consider, I sat in my own merch tent and sold my own t-shirts from 7 a.m. until 10 at night, and then took a fucking break to play a show. So I did not have the normal band member experience. I grew up going to it, and much like the hardcore scene, when I was just like, this is cool, this is what I want to do, I love this, I love everything about it, I love the people, I love the energy, I love the music. And so, you know, when you started getting offers, and I don't even think we got offers, I think we went after it hard, because it was they weren't putting heavy bands on, and obviously in the first like 10 years, like, you'd get your Deftones here and there. And I think that we felt weird enough to where we were like, I think we could play Warped Tour. I think we'd be sticking out because, it's a lot of, Vagrant bands and Fat Records bands. And we would obviously stick out, but we're good at sticking out. It's fun to stick out. And so when the first year we did it was 2006, and yeah, we were like one of the only heavy bands on it. I think like this was maybe Parkway Drive was on it way before they are what they are now. I think Thursday was on it, and like other than that, there were just no bands with definitely no metalcore bands to circle back to the.
But then it kind of changed. Would you say that?
Yeah.
I was there one year because the Almost was on it, and I remember I drove to like Fresno or something to go.
Yeah, and then Under Oath started getting on it, and the Bled, and you're the very young Bring Me the Horizon, and you're starting to see Epitaph signing heavier bands, and I loved it, man. You show up, yeah. It's great weather. It's great people. I mean, not always great weather. There was one year where we just followed rain every day,
Oof.
and like, there's a running joke like 40% of rain. Like no matter what, every single fucking day was 40% chance of rain. But it's. I knew I loved it, and I knew it was fun, and I couldn't really understand anyone that was complaining about it. It's like, okay, I get it. You play for a half hour a day. If maybe people get bored. I don't fucking know. Entertain yourself. Figure it out. Go exercise. Go do something. Take a bike ride to the mall. I don't fucking know. Do something because this is fucking awesome, and you're gonna miss it when it's gone. You get to watch bands all day. And maybe you hate those bands. And if you hate those bands, then maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you don't belong in the scene. I don't know. Like,
did you guys ever get when I was there? Kill Switch was there.
Okay.
And I remember walking by, and I was like, "Oh, Kill Switch is performing." I was like, "This will be interesting." And they seemed I don't remember what year was that. They seemed to be having fun with it. Howard Jones was still in the band.
I think that was like 2004. They were definitely never on a year that we were on it. So it was either 4 or 5. Or 7, I don't know.
Maybe 7. 7 sounds more right. But I just remember they were kind of having fun with the fact that they were there with all the quote unquote emo kids, because there is this weird line in the music where talking about worlds colliding. As I said in the introduction, I do think for a lot of people, music has to have a visual component where people have to look a certain way.
Okay.
For you to know what it is, right? Oh, their hair is long and they're wearing spiked gauntlet armband things. So this is a black metal band, right? And they have white face paint. They're doing all the things that I need them to do, so I know they're this type of music. With this era, there does become a bit of a fashion to it, but it does look a lot like like you said, Vagrant Records, Fat Records, pop punk, emo-y stuff. Like if your hair had a certain swoop to it, you weren't going to be taken as seriously.
Well, like remember there was Fashioncore when 18 Visions came out.
Yes,
and like they were like the first band that actually looked well. James, was a hairdresser, and so was Hav.
James was on he was on the first episode of this program.
Oh no shit. Yeah, and so they were kind of like, hey, we actually care about what we look like, and then that you didn't really get that in the hardcore scene. You didn't really get, people didn't really. That wasn't a priority, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. You threw on your fucking hardcore shirt and your cargo pants and your cargo shorts, and that you call it a day. And I think 18 Visions came in at like Hellfest '99, and just I don't think they coined the term Fashioncore, but people probably just gave it to them because it was just like, who are these guys that take showers and have their
Well, when I talked to him about that, because I do find it when I was hanging out with those Under Oath guys, they would have these conversations. Who wore skinny jeans first, or whatever, and people would always bring up 18 Visions as the ones that kind of did that stuff first, giving a visual component. But I get it; they're from Southern California. it's a very image conscious place. I get it.
Right. Me personally, you know, our shows were just so energetic that I've never, like, it's always been function first. You know, I've never put looking good over the fact, like, if I can't run around stage, I'm not gonna. I need the best fucking sneakers. For some reason, you know, in my 20s, I was, and it came down to like comfort and free. Like this was like, because this was like when, you know, what a benefit you're getting, you know, like clothing companies offering you free shit. You go on.
Were you one of the bands that got the free clothes, the Paul Frank deals, and the Vans?
We got the Paul Frank. We got the Johnny Cupcakes. We got Vans when we went on Warped Tour. And so that was my Fashioncore. It was free and can I play in it? And then Warped Tour is fucking hot and you're sweaty. So it's like, what are you gonna look nice and then just walk around and get fucking? You're in Florida. Put some shorts on. You know, this is fucking stupid. So I never. I'm lucky because I never really cared. And now as I grow up, you know, you try not to look homeless to the best of your ability. But I never looked at a picture of me on a stage and said, wow, he looks fucking cool. I look at me on stage, I go, wow, he looks comfortable.
Look at those sensible shoes.
Right. Yep. With the stretch, make sure, even if I'm playing in jeans and those fucking, you better believe that denim stretches. But there are times where I'll see like a band looking cool, and I'll just be like, fuck, that would be nice to do one day, you know?
The coolest looking band to me, the two coolest looking bands to me were Metallica in the mid 80s.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw Slash, I thought he was the coolest dude. And I still think he's one of the coolest motherfuckers in the world. And Prince.
Right. Oh my God. See, that's what I would do. I kind of wanted to do that for a second. Like if where, you know, when this band started, I was like, what if I just fucking go full blown like identity crisis and just change everything? And like, I'm no longer like jumping around like an animal guy. I'm like standing still guy. And I wear like, you know, Jimmy Page style fucking onesies, like Prince style, like
dude,
skin tight onesies. And but I'm too scared. There is a part of me that's just like, no, you look stupid. What's the fucking band that sounds exactly like Led Zeppelin?
Greta Van Fleet. Yeah,
I saw them open up for Metallica, and I'm like, these motherfuckers look fucking cool as fuck. But some people can just do it, and some people can't. You know, like you said, Slash. Like I can't fucking play in leather pants, but I kind of want to. I can't play in boots.
Boots, leather pants, and he's just riffing, right?
Oh my
Slash
God,
was just riffing.
That top hat would fall off of me in the first 20 seconds of a song.
Okay, I don't know if it was glued to his head or what, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go back and watch Guns N' Roses live at the Ritz. I think it's like 88, 89, right when Appetite is out, and they're just destroying. Great album. I won't listen to anything after that.
It's a fucking vibe, man. I back it. I back people that do say, you know what? At the end of the day, you want to get on stage and you want to look cool. I think fucking energy looks cool. These guys think fucking wardrobes look cool. Who's to say who's right and who's wrong, you know?
I do want to ask you, so you guys also come around when there's a bit of a resurgence in heavy music and its popularity. And when I say that, the new metal stuff feels like it ran its course relatively quickly. And I don't know, but it became a pejorative very quickly within the music scene.
I'm going to Google that word.
It was a bad word. It was a bad word. And with a lot of these, what was the soundtrack? The Freddy vs. Jason soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
If you remember that, there was all these bands we'll call metalcore bands for all intents and purposes.
Okay. Yeah.
The Kill Switch was on there. Oh God, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was interesting seeing this movie soundtrack with all these these heavy bands, but
Okay.
still not really hitting the heights of like the thrash scene before that. Right?
Yeah, that was like when bands, they would just throw like songs that were already out.
Yeah.
And that bummed me out. Like I'm coming from an era where like the soundtrack should have songs that are about the movie. Like
Dokken, fucking Freddy 3.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
Dokken does
cool.
the "We're the Dream Warriors."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or like Bobby Brown,
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters 2.
Ghostbusters 2.
Too bad they had Too Cold to Hold, call the Ghostbusters, and then he raps the whole. He basically like summarizes the whole movie in the rap that I can do, but I will not. That's cool. And then Will Smith ended up doing it with every single movie that he was in.
Oh, yeah,
but that's what I wanted. Or what I wanted was like The Crow. When The Crow put out like, oh, these are all songs that have, and I might be wrong, but at the time I remember they were all songs that you couldn't get anywhere else. Like that Stone Temple Pilots song was.
I think so. I think you're right.
It ended up being on their next record, but it came out on that first. Or there was the rumor, the Beavis and Butthead Experience, where it was like all new shit. It was like Megadeth, like it was all. I liked when the soundtracks. I liked when the soundtracks were all new stuff, and so I think I didn't pay much attention to that because I was happy for the bands, but I was just like, oh, this is just like a play. This is just like a mixtape. This is a playlist of like bands, and cool, good for them. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think it was. Did it? I don't know. Did it move the needle? Did it? Make
I don't know. I was going to ask you that because there is a change. Like MTV brings back Headbangers Ball at this moment.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna blow my nose. I'll be right.
I don't know if you guys remember this moment. This has got to be like 2000. When did Freddy vs. Jason come out? Like 2004 or so. 2003. And
Jason Goes to Hell. Jason Goes to Hell was 90s. And so,
no, this is way after that. This is the Freddy vs. Jason thing. Was with the girl from Destiny's Child was in it. I can't think of her name for the life of me. But
Kelly Rowlands.
Kelly Rowlands, yes. Your pop culture knowledge is unprecedented.
Did you ever see the Nelly video where she's texting him on a
where she's texting him a spreadsheet?
Yeah, I fucking love that. Whenever it pops up in my on my feed somehow, my algorithm really knows how to make me laugh, and that pops up like every 6 months.
That means you're doing a good job with life.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
But when you did you guys ever do a Headbangers Ball with Jamie Johnston?
Fuck, I feel like it. I really do. Yeah. I really feel like we were at MTV Studios for something, and it was not TRL, so I feel like it was.
Because I remember there was a video you guys did. What was the record after Hot Damn?
Gutter Phenomenon.
Is that the one where you had the video with the actor?
Yeah, with Michael Madsen was in the
Michael
one.
Madsen. There's like a lion and shit in it. And I saw that video and I thought to myself, oh, these guys they're doing it. Yeah, was this a moment for you where there was like a change and you guys felt real good and maybe the venues are getting a little bigger?
Yeah. We first CD, Last Night in Town, just kind of made us feel like, oh wow, we could fit in with our contemporaries. We can go on tours. We can, even if there's not many people at the shows, we can at least set up a table and sell our full-length record and say that we are a band on a record label, and cool. And people were noticing, and we had some good festivals and some good tours. And then Hot Damn, that got us bigger. We were on Ozfest, and that kind of sucked for us just because I don't think metalheads really were ready for us.
Really? Seriously, tell me a little bit about Ozfest, because that's interesting, because Ozfest, second stage, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I did.
That was like the new metal tour for a while too.
Okay, so I'll try to tell this in a different way because I apologize. I did my friend's podcast last week, and we did spend a lot of time on Ozfest. So I'll try to, but there was a lot to talk about. So I'll try to explain it in a different way. Yes, it was new metal. and it was radio friendly, and it was radio bands, and
Taproot and Spine
yeah,
Shank and
right.
yeah.
And then 2004, they just decided to make the second stage mostly bands from the hardcore scene. And again, I wouldn't. It kind of circles back to that earlier conversation of these aren't necessarily hardcore bands. These are probably more metalcore bands, but we all came from the same scene.
Yeah.
Bleeding Through, Throwdown, Unearth, Darkest Hour, Atreyu, Hatebreed, Lamb of God. Like these are all bands that played together. And I don't know if one person said, hey, we should ditch new metal and look to this scene. I don't know if it was a coincidence. I don't know if all the managers just started managing metalcore bands at that time and stopped managing new metal bands. But it was definitely like, oh, this is the year that they're putting fucking like hardcore bands on Ozfest. And no, we did not. We were the least heavy of those bands on Ozfest, but we were 2 years later. We were the most heavy band on Warped Tour. So it really.
What would you rather be?
I liked Warped Tours better. I just think we were the energy was more receptive. It was less confused looking when we would play Warped Tour. The metalheads, they're there for their 8:30, or honestly, doors at 8:30, Jaeger tent by 9:30. They're there for Black Sabbath. They're there for Slipknot. They don't really want to see, Every Time I Die at 10:15
AM.
Yeah, exactly. So and it's fine, and we made a lot of fans, and I think it was kind of like more the benefits trickled down later. Like we would get people to our shows that fall or that winter, or people would stick with us for the next 20 years because they said, my friend dragged me to fucking Ozfest and I saw you guys, and yeah, we stuck out. We were the ones that didn't. We weren't. It was very do what I say. Like more so, we grew up with Scott Vogel, and obviously Scott Vogel is going to tell you when to mosh, and Scott Vogel is going to tell you when to stage dive. But it was very cookie cutter. Everyone is just going to do what the singer tells them to do. And we weren't really that band. We just got up there. We had 25 minutes. We just fucking ripped through as many songs as we could. And we didn't ask people to bounce. And we didn't ask for, we didn't ask for crowd surfers. We didn't ask for fucking wall of death. We didn't ask for fucking go run. Throwdown made people just run away. It was cool. There's like turn around and just run away as far as you can, and people would. It was just like it was fucking awesome to see.
Did that change? We talked about this yesterday on the show because someone had asked the question: do you work out material? Is it like being a comedian and you work material out when you play live? And I believe if you played live, especially making anything that isn't the norm, then you're going to face, like, I made weird, arty, I guess you would call it industrial metal stuff.
Okay.
And not until like the end of my time doing that did I get a tour with a band like Godflesh.
Okay.
So it was a lot of playing with different types of bands where, to your point, if we're playing with a band in your guys' ilk and we have these like moody moments, they didn't want to hear that. They wanted to mosh.
Right.
And it did change the way we wrote a little bit, and it definitely changed the way we performed live. It definitely made us more aggressive. Did that experience with Ozfest tighten you guys up and make you maybe a more aggressive band live?
It definitely fed into our like us versus the world kind of thing. I mean, I personally and we just wanted to come to your city and fucking fuck it up, and then go to the next city and fucking destroy that one. And it made me it made me know what I was. It made me more confident, honestly. Like it didn't make me go, "Oh shit, maybe I'm in the wrong field. Maybe maybe this was just a passing fancy, and it's time to go back to school because metalheads don't like us." It didn't do that. It made me go, "No, I got something, and these motherfuckers are gonna be regretting the fact that they were looking at us fucking cross-eyed when we played. You know, we're going to be the band that people goes, holy shit, I saw them at 9 a.m. and no one gave a fuck. You know, that kind of shit. Like the shit shoveling, like no, they're not right. We're right. We are right. Like they might have won this battle, but we are going to be the weirdos that carve our own path. And you gotta, like, all good music, all good art, all good creativity is fucking brand new at some point. And it's nothing brand new is accepted right away.
Yes.
People have to get used to it. And so you just kind of know that, and you say, all right, well, metalheads don't like us. Well, fuck them. Someone does.
Yeah.
You know?
Fuck them. Yeah.
Right.
That's even my mentality with this show. Fuck them.
Well, you gotta be. And to this day, like, I mean, I find so much happiness later in life, not trying to please everyone. The easiest way to be unhappy is to try to make everyone happy. I don't know if I made that up or if that's a real quote, but it's the truth. So you make what makes you happy, and you have confidence that it will attract who it needs to attract.
Well, what makes me happy is your new band.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. Me too.
I heard it. I follow you on Twitter.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was you or if you run the band's Twitter.
Sometimes we'll kind of take turns.
Had dropped the video for the 30 under 13.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is either going to be really, really cool or people really are going to say, well, I went and saw do you remember Audio Slave?
Yeah. We're Underground Audio Slave.
There you go. Underground. I saw Audio Slave at a fucking what was that tour? Lollapalooza, when it was still a tour.
Yeah.
And I was whatever. I was ambivalent about them. And they played Seven Nation Army. They covered Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. Okay. I won't listen to the White Stripes version because they fucking killed it. And then they ended with that Cochise song, which is Morello actually writes some pretty cool riffs, and Cornell had
absolutely voice. Yeah. I'm vocal about, and I say this pretty much anytime I'm talking about my guitar origins. I make sure to point out that when I was 13, I went to the store called Media Play, and I bought the tab books for Green Day, Dookie, Nirvana, Nevermind, and Rage Against the Machine's first record. And I just learned how to play those front to back. And that's how I learned how to play guitar, was teaching myself those 3 albums.
Because you have a very unique style in your playing, and I never know what's coming when you're riffing. And this is coming from another, you probably can't see it. I am also a guitar player. I still have
Hell yeah. Ooh, that's sick.
Someone made that for me.
Very cool.
And I appreciate the heaviness, the complicated riffing. And when I heard the 30 under 13, I was like, oh, this is going to be really fucking cool. Because I remember the people were upset about, every time.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
They were upset. All right. They were upset. They sure were upset.
Well, you do something for almost 20 years.
23.
Was it 23 years?
Yeah.
You 23 years then. You did something for 23 years, right? You had a fair amount of success. Success is always a relative term. I don't want to be look, brother, I don't want to be at your house at Christmas.
It's my house at Christmas is fucking amazing because no, there 3 years ago changes were made,
Mhm.
and there is no longer any horrible energy in any of my family's lives, and so I know I get it. I get the jokes. I see them all. They're all. I don't want. The Thanksgiving Christmas one. Yes, it's still funny. Every 10 times I hear it every holiday.
I was like,
But it
oof,
just goes
yeah,
to it just kind of goes to show that people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because
yeah.
let's just
Well, look, no one knows
yeah.
what's going on in your person. We don't have to get into that, but I do think it's interesting that your bands, it's pretty much the ashes of Every Time I Die, but also the lead singer of another band that people were very upset about,
Mm-hmm.
the Dillinger Escape Plan.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's a ballsy move to put these two bands that people have such an emotional attachment to together. And from what I've seen from your videos, sadly, I haven't seen you guys live. What it's seen from the videos, it seems like the reception you guys are getting is great.
Oh yeah.
And to start over, because you kind of have to
Mm-hmm.
start over to a certain extent.
Oh, to every extent,
Um,
yeah.
uh, it looks like it's going well for you. So tell me a little bit how you put Better Lovers together
Uh
and what's going on with that.
yeah, it was hard, but it was a lot of I'm just really proud of us. It was a lot of like, we have no choice but to keep going. I got this. I don't sit when I sit still. I have to like schedule it. You know what I mean? Like I have to schedule my time. Oh, this is when I meditate. This is when I'm relaxing. Oh, like I'm one of these guys that just kind of has too much creative energy to just wrap it up and be like, oh, band fucking broke up. I guess landscaping. I don't know. Like I love
Yeah.
it outside, and I was a landscaper when I was 16. I can't wait to go back to that when I retire. But it felt like very unfinished. Like this part of me that was just like, no, we're not done. What the fuck? No. Just because someone sank the ship doesn't mean that you can't build another fucking ship. So me and Steve and Goose just got to fucking work, and it was fucking hard, man. It was really fucking hard. But we're lucky because our booking agent stayed with us, and we had this like this don't even fucking look in the rear view mirror kind of mentality about just let's just put this fucking band together. So we were doing things all out of whack. You know, we were recording an EP before we even had a singer, before we even had a name. But it was me and Goose and Steve, and we had like about 8 really good songs that we recorded with our friend Jay in Buffalo. Then we sent those to Will because Will did the last 2 ETID records, and we wanted his opinion on it, and he gave us a bro deal about. He's like, okay, why don't we get these recorded really good, kind of just like we would do any other recording, and then you'll have something like really good to send to singers. And we have we're not sitting on a pile of secret singer. Dude, it was either we go to someone who's already been in a band because we don't have any friends who just happen to be amazing singers. We're in our 40s. If
Yeah.
you're in your 40s and you have an amazing voice, you've probably already been in a band or tried to be in a band. No one has anyone that came forward and was like, oh, by the way, I know we've been high school friends, but I know how to
Look what I can
sing
do.
and scream and write lyrics.
Yeah.
So it either came down to, I think, we get this to people that we know from bands, or we have a fucking straight up open tryout, which was like kicked around, like just like put this EP, this instrumental, like the God, what would become the God Made Me an Animal EP. Like, let's just put it online without vocals because we don't have one. and maybe a fucking miracle will be made, and we'll discover the next fucking Greg Pachado. Or like there was just like, okay, well, if this isn't going to be a full-time thing because we're having so much trouble, maybe we'll do this like weird like you remember Probot, that Dave Grohl thing,
Yeah, Dave
where he had
Grohl's
like
thing. That was dope.
he
Yeah.
had like a different singer every song. I was
Mhm.
like, what if we did this? That was an idea. And then, story goes, me and Steve were in Vegas, drowning our sorrows after the breakup, and Greg was there with Jerry, and I hadn't seen Greg in about a decade, but we had done a couple Dillinger tours, and we had done a Warped tour together, and got it to him, and he wrote me a text message in the middle of the night, very Greg-like, and this was like 4 months later.
Mhm.
And so once I told Will that, Will was like, "Oh, okay, I'll be in the band." 'Cause Will was like, is and was and is such a fan of Greg. Like, it's funny to watch Will record Greg because it's like this weird like fan part of Will comes out that never comes out any other time of the day. Like he's so fucking cool. Will's just the coolest dude, and you could kind of see him fanning out when Greg does vocals. It's really, really fun to watch. I'll get more video of it next time. Yeah, I feel like he's about to ask Greg for a picture and like.
Well, Greg actually has to go from the kind of. I think there's a difference between a Howard Jones, let's say, and a guy like Greg, because with a kill switch type song, there's a format to it, right? Even with the heavy part. And I'm not shitting on a guy like Howard Jones. The man has an amazing fucking vocal range and voice.
Right.
But when you see or have listened to one of the Dillinger records or even the Better Lovers stuff, that's like some crazy punky. It's like, where's is there going to be a clean part? Like, maybe not.
Yeah, he's got a bag of tricks, and you give it like these stupid names. It's just like, all of a sudden he busts out this fucking drunk guy voice, or like, you write the song. Music's always done first. It's always been done first in anything. I've never actually been a part of writing something like with vocals, and I think we're going to start doing that, just because it would just be a whole new way to write. And I'm always looking to learn. I'm always looking to grow. I'm always looking to get better. And so I kind of want to start doing as many new things as possible. But when you write and kind of you hand it to Greg, you have no idea what's coming back. Yeah. And that's the coolest part, is that the parts you think are going to be this, they're that. And the parts that are going to be, you think they're going to be that, they're this. And you're in good hands. That's the best part too, is that you don't have to go, oh man, I hope he fucking screams here. Oh, I get, like, obviously if I hear it back and I have an idea that sprouts from what he's done, I'll give it to him. But it's only a little growth off of what he has already created. It's not like, you know what, I don't like this, do this. Like, I would never, and I'm glad I don't have to. There's never been a time where I'm just like, fuck, Greg kind of dropped the ball on this one. Like, no, fucking, not even fucking close. And it's nice when before we got Greg, then maybe this is floating around. Maybe it'll come out like in the distant future when it's time to fuck around with B-sides and shit. But before we got Greg and before Will was officially in the band, I was hearing like vocal patterns and vocal melodies in my head, with some of these songs, which never really happens, but it was happening. And so I hit up Chris from Under Oath, and on the first track of the EP, the song that would become Sacrificial Participant, there is a version of it out there with like this child chorus like singing on it, because I like sent it to Chris and I sang into my phone like this thing I was hearing. I'm like, I keep hearing this in my head. Can you like make it reality? for me.
Okay.
And he did. And so before we got Greg, there's a version of that song with like a children's choir effect singing in some of the parts.
I would
And
like
then
to hear that. Yeah.
and then Greg's just like, nah, I'm gonna do it like this. And we're like, oh yeah, this is 1,000 times.
That's probably way better.
Yeah. I'll try to dig it up. It's got to be somewhere.
Wherever you guys are watching or listening to this show later, there's links in the description to Better Lovers. There's also links in the description to the What the Hell is Metalcore playlist that I made. I want you to here. I'm going to do. Can I share a screen on this fucking thing? You'll have to give me a second because I don't. This is a new streaming system for me, as I had problems with the one I've been using for 5 years. I had to fire.
Do you want to borrow my microphone?
I'm using. You know what? I'm just using the standard Sennheiser that you would use to do live shit with.
You know, when you give Target $29.99, you expect quality, but maybe I'll call it Sennheiser.
Playing with fire is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, did I break up? I said you're playing with fire if you give Target $29.99.
Oh, dude, I'm a fuck. I got my red card. I'm at Target every other day. It is trouble. It's absolutely trouble.
Because I want to show you some of these songs on this playlist. Just not all of them. I just wanted to, and we can't play because YouTube will take the video down because YouTube sucks.
Oh, really?
But weird. I want you to. Oh, dude, copyright is a bitch. That's why I play all the music that we play on the show, because I don't put it up on Spotify.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, it's not. Oh man, there we go. Okay, here we go.
Man, I'm all out of cash. Sorry.
Let's we can find it. I think I found it. Share screen. Jesus Christ. Share the goddamn screen. Here we go. Can you see it now?
Am I supposed to be looking at it? No.
Can you see it on the screen?
Oh, bam. Yes. No, I can. Yes.
Okay. So the first song is your old band, Every Time I Die.
Yeah.
Dark Dissonance. Is that a metalcore song?
That was okay. So there's this one Meshuggah song, and they have like the heaviest part in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me trying to go, okay, I want to write the heaviest part in the world. And it's an A, and like, you know, it's kind of like when you go to the gym and you're like try to max out your bench. Like I was trying to max out heaviness on that song.
I've never heard that before. I like that. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, obviously that was 4 years ago. So who knows if I could write something heavier now? I don't think I've ever really sat down with Better Lovers and just, that's kind of like a very flowing, everything feels right, everything is falling into place kind of writing.
Mm-hmm.
I've never sat down with at Will's house and said, let's write the heaviest song we possibly can. But we will on the new record for sure. This was more, first time around was more about like, let's have some fun. Let's find our voice. Let's, try to encapsulate the energy of us. And yeah, I think I'm going to try to max out on the next record.
Okay. You're going to max out the bench. The number 2 song is Wasted Sacrifice by Killswitch Engage.
How does that go?
It's the end from the End of Heartache.
Does it go like that?
Something like that. There's a mighty chorus. There's a mighty chorus at the end.
I love Howard's choruses. Yeah.
For a Bandaged Iris is track number 3.
We're going on tour with Poison the Well. They're very good. Selling very well. So
really,
you're right about the whole fucking just being popular music still. People are fucking us, Glassjaw, them, Teenage Wrist. So yeah, and it's in big rooms and it's doing great. I can't wait for it. So yeah, I'm
No,
excited
that was another reason why I
because
wanted to do this thing is I had got reconnected with my buddy that worked for Under Oath, and we were talking about that time. And right around that time, they had announced a 20-year thing for chasing safety, and it hit me. I was like, oh wow, it's been 20 years. And then that hit me. I was like, oh, there's tons of bands that'll be hitting 20-year
okay.
on their records. So
Let
let's.
me before we go on, let me give you my take on anniversary tours.
Oh,
I
oh,
used to hate them because I just saw them as a cash grab, and it
hmm,
was just like I didn't, and it was always like 10-year anniversary, 10 year, and I don't know, man. Sometimes I just don't feel that different 10 years later. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's like okay, fine, but again, get your bag. I'm not anti hardworking bands getting their money, and I think I finally understood it, like truly understood it this year when I went to the Get Up Kids 25th anniversary because
Hmm.
I'm an emo and I fucking love the Get Up Kids and I grew up with the Get Up Kids and I'm one of the fucking people that feels like he discovered them first because when I was going to hardcore shows when I was fucking 12, you get the little pamphlets of the catalogs
Yeah.
and like I ordered this 7-inch just because like I don't know, like they were playing shows with Coalesce or
Mm.
something. I don't even remember, but I love Coalesce. And I got their 7-inch before they even had a CD out. And then they became like the biggest, like, you know, band of that genre in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so when I went to the 25th anniversary this year, and I live out in Arizona. So 25 years ago, I did not live in Arizona. But I felt like I was at a high school reunion um, of just a high school I didn't go to, but everyone was so like, I felt like I did for a second because it was just like, oh, everyone here, 25, the first time these people heard this song, they were a fucking emo kid going through some shit, you
Hmm.
know? And so you relate to people. I was in a fucking six, 700 people there, just looking around. It was a little high, but I was, I was saying to myself, "Whoa!" Like all these bald people used to have hair, and like now, like they're all they got babysitters, but they didn't. Maybe those two fucking people right there that are holding hands got babysitters tonight. Maybe they fucking met at a Get Up Kids show. Like it. I hate to be cliche about it, but like everyone, it's not that everyone wants to feel young again, but everyone wants to feel those good feelings again.
Yes.
And so you're in this room and you're just having this shared experience of, whoa, we all felt the same thing at the
Hmm.
same time. And 25 years later, we're kind of all being reminded of that warm, fuzzy feeling. And so that's when I kind of got it. And so, yeah, so to bring it up to relevance, we're going on this tour. Poison the Well is doing 25th anniversary of Opposite of December,
Hmm.
and yeah, man, people are want to remember what they or maybe heavy music gets you through shit, um, and maybe they want to remember a time when this song got them through some shit, and I get it now. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Oh, I mean, I'm bummed I didn't get to see Poison the Well on their You Come Before You when they were playing that in its entirety tour last year.
Yeah, I saw it. It was great. It was fucking awesome.
And
Because
no,
that rap record was my shit.
yeah, I
Yeah,
loved that. I really I still play that record on my run hikes, and
yeah,
just from front to back, you could max out your bench on that record.
yeah. And they were kind of in you know, where I would say the early 2000s, us, Poison the Well, Under Oath, Converge. Those are the bands you put it on, and to this day it makes an impact on when I write um, music as a whole.
Mhm.
You don't want 10 songs that sound the same. You
Yep.
want to have track 4 be slow and weird, and then you might kind of be creeped out by fucking track 8, and that's been an inspiration to me because it makes writing fun. You can put together some fucking blistering songs, and you can kind of look at the pile and you can go, oh, we don't have a fucking weird one, and that's when you can kind of give yourself freedom. You can't go to practice on the first day of writing with the weird one. Like the weird, you got to get the fucking normal, this is what kids are going to love, this is what we love to play kind of shit out of the way. Because if you start weird, then it's only going to get weirder. You kind of got to save weird for like halfway through the writing process. And Poison the Well, man, they know how to get those weird ones in there and just make you, but not skip them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You don't want to. There's a bad habit of, remember, like, and no disrespect to some of my favorite bands, but like there was like a noise track trend in like late 90s, early 2000s, like yes. Dillinger and like yes. like Coalesce had like dude, everyone's skipping this track. Everyone is skipping this fucking track. And then there was like an okay, we're acoustic for one song trend where like heavy bands wanted to like show off their softer side, but it was like it was only one song and then you skip that one too. But Poison the Well was one of the first bands that made me go, okay, they can get weird on track 3 and I'm actually going to listen to it. And I can't wait to hear it because they're not just going to play opposite. They'll play some of those songs too.
Yeah, I wanted to see those. Another band, I don't know if you played with them or dug them, Thrice did something similar where they re-recorded The Illusion of Safety.
Okay.
In its entirety, because they sound different and they play different and it sounds slightly different. I do like their replaying of it more, maybe because I'm older.
See, I think I got into them after they were weird, so I'm all out of whack because I like them and I'll put on, my go-to is the Thrice Essentials on Apple Music.
They have an Essentials. I didn't know they had an Essentials.
Yeah, like every band has an Essentials.
Oh wow, I should see if my band has Essentials.
I bet they do, man. And so Thrice I got into them a little later than I should have because now I have to go back and then I'll listen to the early stuff and I'll just be like, no, wait, I like the weird stuff more.
I just discovered their weird stuff by listening to their old stuff, by listening to them replay their old stuff, and their weirder stuff to me, or what people would call their weirder stuff, is for me the perfect maturation of a band that always had their a toe in some more obscure stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. I don't know. Thrice to me is an interesting band. But who else is on this playlist that you would know?
All right. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. No, Under Oath. Of course, we have one of my favorite Dillinger Escape Plan songs is "One of Us Is the Killer" because I think that's Greg's best vocal performance.
He's magnificent. You skipped Converge.
I did. Did I skip Converge? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Concubine off Jane Doe. Would you say all this? Now, for me, all this stuff is technically in the metalcore genre, but I don't think any of this stuff sounds that similar.
Right. Here, go down.
Sure.
What do you got?
We got Norma Jean.
Right. Yeah.
The Chariot. Follow those two up together, right? Misery Signals. Unearth.
First to Last. Okay. What album is that? Heroin? From First to Last?
2 is 1. No. I did.
What
2
record is that?
From the self-titled.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Heroin record I really liked. We were playing shows with them right around that era. That was a cool record.
Was Dude still the singer? What's his name? Skrillex?
Sonny, yeah. We did a tour with them in Atreyu. And it was right when they were like blowing the fuck up, like very, very. They weren't headlining, but like people were leaving after them, kind of big.
Damn.
And okay. Sonny blew his fucking voice out, and so his doctor told him a trick to save his voice was to talk like a duck, and so like he was talking like that on fucking tour. We're just like Go home, dude. Take some, drink
Who
some
the
tea.
fuck was this doctor? That's the better question.
Yeah.
Sonny,
Yeah,
I got the
fucking-
tricks for you, kid.
Dr.
Dr.
Hubbard.
Vinny
some fucking-
Boombots.
Yeah. Dr. Wario.
Bleeding Through. Got to have Bleeding Through on your metalcore playlist on
Yeah, they're
Wings of
metalcore.
Dead, right?
They're metalcore.
18 Visions, I Let Go.
Yeah, they're fucking awesome.
Thrice Under a Killing Moon.
I think the one before that, the first Trustkill one.
Oh yeah, what was that
until the
called?
ink dries, or
It's pink. The cover's pink, right?
no. It's like a bees on it. The ink one. It's got ink in the title. Damn it. Until the ink dries, because I remember what Cave-In had Until Your Heart Stops,
Mm-hmm.
and then 18 Visions had like an Until. It was also Until something.
I don't remember. I don't remember all their records. They didn't have that many before this record because they were on a bigger label on this one, weren't they? This is
that's when they kind of leaned into like, okay, we wanna kind of. I think they leaned into the fact that they wanted to be as big of a band as popular and big as possible. And so they kind of, leaned into the Stone Temple Pilots thing that was happening, but that's cool. Or maybe they just said, we want to be unique. And I think that's crucial in any kind of music, any kind of art.
I have the Atreyu Bleeding Mascara. There's nothing that says the early 2000s, late 90s more than.
Is that the one that ends with "She's back"? Is it?
I don't. I'll be honest with you. Yes.
Yep.
It's that one. So when I put these playlists together, I'll be honest with you, Mr. Jordan Buckley.
Yeah.
I don't listen to all of the music that goes on one of these.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm discovering stuff for the first time. We do a series called "Is This the Greatest Year of Music?" So we go through an entire year of music, all genres, and some of those playlists are 24 hours long. I am not that much of an aficionado.
Oh no! Well, this is just Jordan brain. There's no reason why that should be in my head, but for some reason, for the last 20 years, anytime we'll be at a show and someone will leave and they'll come back, someone might just say, "She's back." It's just one of these millions of inside jokes that we have buried in our subconscious for the last fucking 20 years.
Well, there was a moment where Atreyu was pretty fucking big.
Oh, they were big, yeah. They were big on the yeah, absolutely.
And then they weren't.
Well, that happens.
And it's not to shit on them,
Right.
It's just
they're all. I mean, they're back. They're back. We played shows with them last summer. We played festivals.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, and I don't think Alex is in the band anymore. I think they got like Brandon moved to being a singer, and then they got a new drummer. So I heard them from a distance, and they sounded great. And I said what's up to them, and me and Mark talked transcendental meditation in the catering, and yeah, they're good guys. They came up at the same time as us, but yeah, they were definitely also like one step ahead of where we were. Like they were making videos first. They were on Headbangers Ball first. They were taking bigger tours. They were all of a sudden playing rooms with barricades, while we were still playing VFW halls. But then, we did Ozfest together, and we've kind of been really good friends ever since. I lived in California too for like 10 years, so I would see, them around.
Oh, you lived in SoCal?
Yeah. It was nice.
Beautiful place. We'll just go to the top 20. So we have Thrice Under a Killing Moon, Atreyu. Parkway Drive, Romance is Dead.
Yo, Parkway Drive opened for Every Time I Die on our first trip to Australia. Oh fuck, I should have remembered them. I have like this list in my head where, and again, I said this on the last podcast I did, but remember the movie Good Luck Chuck where any woman that dated him would marry the next guy that they met.
Yeah.
Like we were like that way for a lot of bands. Like so many bands opened up for us and then became the biggest bands in the world. Like if you opened up for Every Time I Die, there's a chance you would be in an arena in 2 years. Like Parkway Drive opened up for us. Bring Me the Horizon opened up for us. Knocked Loose opened up for us. Turnstile opened up for us.
Really big.
So I feel like we were like a good luck charm. Like when we brought a band out, we helped catapult them to stardom.
Well, I mean, the thrash guys did that for the grunge guys, right?
Right. Yeah.
Stone Temple Pilots opened up for Megadeth.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. You got to pay your dues. And that kind of just circles back to what we were saying about Scott Vogel, man. It's all about helping out the people coming up, making their time easier. And you can do that or you could not do that, because I've definitely been on tour with bands who are like, I'm going to make your life harder because I shoveled shit. So if I had to play with no room on stage, then you're going to play with no room on stage. Meanwhile, we're the kind of band that's like, if we played with no room on stage, why would we want to make another band as miserable as we were when we had no room on stage? Of course, we'll take down our drums and push our cabs back, that kind of shit.
That goes a long way. I've talked about it a lot on the show because of living in that studio in West Oakland and getting to know all those bands that I literally grew up listening to. I got to live in a place with all of my musical heroes. One thing that was kind of awesome about being there was the help that I was able to get from those people, from, them walking by the room while I'm recording something and being like, oh, dude, that's cool. We should do this.
Right. Yeah.
Or to giving us gear when we needed it. The mentor mentee relationship is one of the secret life hacks that should be utilized more in the music scene. And I try, but I don't want to overstep my boundaries. There's a lot of bands that seem to be knowing what they're doing, but when we bring out bands, and I'll try to, without coming across like crotchety and be like, no, you should do it this way. No, if there's wisdom to be passed along, I definitely like to pass it along, because I have some for sure. But I'm also learning from these, bands we bring out too. I mean, when we did the Under Oath tour last year, it was our first tour ever. There were 4 bands on the tour. We were the only one with amps. Every fucking band. And so maybe we're the idiots, or maybe, amps just look cool. And so we're going to kind of just stick with it. But it sure made loaders upset. I thought they were getting the entire day off, and then like the opening band shows up with fucking 8 cabinets. That was the last band I was in. We definitely went full retard on the 2 guitar players playing full stacks, kind of stuff. And it, for us, it made sense, right? Because we also love bands like Sleep,
right?
Just going to tear the walls down. And seeing even small bands in small fucking rooms come in with laptops and little things, I'm like, nah, maybe that makes more sense.
Right.
Everybody's got in-ears in 2025, so stage volume is not that important. Yeah,
this is the first this past fall tour, winter tour, was the first tour I've ever used in-ears. And
what'd you think?
I liked it because I have like tinnitus, and I have to care about my hearing for the first time. And so it does wonders for that. I licked this fucking electric thing that cures my tinnitus. It's really fucking cool. You want to see it?
Are you being serious?
Yeah. Hold on. I'll get it. It's this thing called Lanier. And if you look up tinnitus, it says there's no cure. It's only like ways to manage it. But then there's this new experimental thing. You get this, okay, and you get this, and you get these, and it's for a half hour in the morning and a half hour at night. I had to do this for 4 months every day. You turn it on, and you hear a series of like beeps and like ocean noises and ringing and shit, and you put this in your mouth, and it's got like it's almost like licking, like, you know, when you lick a battery, you're like, ah, it's like that, but it's like 1 volt. So it's not a lot, but you feel it. And what the science behind it is that the electrodes sync up with the beeps that you're hearing, and the electricity will revive your dead hearing cells, like kind of like electroshock, like when you,
Yeah,
what's it
it
called?
sounds like
When
electroshock therapy. Yeah.
yeah, or like when someone's dead and you shock their heart back to life.
Yeah.
It's like that, because the biology behind tinnitus is that I think it was explained to me, like your brain is making the pitch that you can no longer hear.
Whoa.
So if you can no longer hear,
Yeah.
your brain is going to go, and this fixes that, and it's not completely gone, but it's definitely fucking helped a lot.
That ringing is the most irritating thing in the world.
Okay, so mine was so gradual. I used earplugs when I would go see bands, but I never wore them when I played.
Yep.
I just didn't like it. I didn't think I played as good. I didn't think I could hear as good. I didn't think I could play as good because I didn't hear as good. And then it was so gradual. I remember like one time I was watching a movie, and you know how like when an explosion happens in a movie, like they'll have the person's ears ringing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like the closed captioning on, and in the bottom it said ears ringing, but I didn't hear it. And I was like, oh fuck, I can't hear the ringing on the TV because there's ringing in my head all the time anyway. And then like I feel like it got better after the pandemic. They say it can't like cure itself, or they say it doesn't get better, but I really feel like a year or two off of live music really made it get better. And then when we started back up again after the pandemic, that's when I was like, oh fuck, this fucking sucks. Like this is keeping me up at night. I have to do something. And I went to like 3 different doctors, and the first 2 were just like, no, we can't do anything. And I was like, yes, I know that. That's why I called. I said, can you do something? Because I heard that you can do nothing. And then they say, well, come in and we'll do a little test on you. And then they fucking say, well, we can't do anything. And then I called the second place. And I said, I know you're going to tell me you can do nothing, but my tinnitus is bad. And can you do something? Maybe there's something new. But, oh, come on in. Yeah, we can. Oh, yeah, we got something for you. And then they give you the hearing test. And they go, well, there's nothing you can do for tinnitus. I said, you motherfuckers. And so that's when I started doing.
But the doctor you got the device from is not Sonny's doctor, correct?
Right. Yeah, he didn't tell me to quack. I started actually doing my own research. I heard about Lanier, and I actually started like looking for places, and I got lucky because I'm out in the desert, and Phoenix is one of they say there's 16 cities where you can, that have doctors that use it, and Phoenix is one of them. So it was not cheap, but it was worth it.
There's a venue in Scottsdale that we used to play, and I can't remember the name of it.
The Nile.
Nope. I bet the Something Bar and Grill.
Oh, okay. I don't know that one.
It's in Scottsdale. It's like right when you get into Scottsdale.
I don't know. I mean, Phoenix has a lot of really good ones. I don't know if I've ever been to.
No, it's not in Phoenix.
Right. I think I've actually played there. The only time I've ever played Scottsdale, I think, was with Atreyu and From First to Last, oddly enough. And I think I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, and I got to look at the Rogue Bar. The Rogue Bar. It was in like this weird little strip mall next to a liquor store.
Not Rebel Lounge.
No, not the Rebel Lounge. My boy works at the Rebel Lounge, by the way.
What does?
My boy works at the Rebel Lounge.
Oh, tell him I said hi.
Now everybody wants to know the name of the tinnitus treatment, Jordan.
Lanier.
Lanier.
Lenire. Oh, we have like comments and shit?
Oh, dude, people have been commenting the whole time.
Fuck, I didn't know that. Maybe that's best.
Well, yes, I always tell people don't look into the chat. It's like don't gaze into the abyss. That is the chat. But I don't.
People want to fucking step to this?
No. People have been very kind. I'll send you the links. You can watch it back. You'll see. People have been kind.
Well, I'm having a great time. and I'm really enjoying this, but I will not be watching it. But I just don't listen back. I don't watch back any of my shit. Because I'll just think about what I could have said that was better, or wittier or funnier, or so I can't. I'm sorry. I'll trust you that it's going great though.
Yeah, I would have
Cool.
killed this a long time ago if it sucked.
Yeah, we're cruising. We're fucking cruising.
But I don't want to keep you because I know you are a man of many things, and it
I
feels like
gotta go print up the new posters we're leaving for the UK on Wednesday.
Why would you leave right? It isn't still cold as shit there.
Yeah, but that kind
you're
of
a G.
Yeah. No, we're still built different. We're still just we like touring. We like so it's cold. So what? We'll be in a van.
You're also
so
from
what?
Buffalo,
right? Well, that people think that you like the cold. Like you're used to. It still sucks. Like being around the cold all the time doesn't make the cold better. It just makes you can handle it, but it still sucks. I don't like it at all. I will complain. It's when it's too cold, and that will be every day next week. But it'll
it's
be
gonna be
good time.
cold as shit.
Have you ever done Have you ever done cryotherapy where you get in the thing that's like negative fucking 50 degrees for like 2 minutes?
I know what it is, but I've never done. You've done cryotherapy?
Yeah. I got all the health gimmicks. I fucking love it.
Is that why you're in Arizona? Because they have all.
Oh, they have all the gimmicks out here, dude. I'm fucking doing mushroom fucking retreats. I'm doing hot yoga, cold plunges. I do it all. It's fucking great.
Well, thank you, Jordan, for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. And again, guys, wherever you're watching and listening to the show, there's it's the first link. Before I even say what the show's about, the first link is a link to Better Lovers, all their music, all their tour dates. It's a link to their website. And then below that is a link to this playlist that you guys can listen to and yell at me and tell me I forgot this band and what about that band. And I don't give a shit because these are the 40 that I could find in the 4 hours that it took me to put together.
No, yeah, you can max out to that playlist for sure.
You can definitely max out this playlist. It does end. I do end it because I am a gentleman with Better Lovers.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
I started with ETID, ended it with Better Lovers. So it's the Jordan playlist, right?
Yeah, it's my life story.
All the bands you played with and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask you a question off air. So stay tuned after the show ends, after the music stops. I want to ask you a question off air.
Okay.
Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back tomorrow for more regularly scheduled TIR programming. I'll be back with Derek Varn, Pascal Robert, and Cuba, Deep State Cuba, where we're going to ask the question, is it rules-based order or is it MAGA Fest destiny? What is going on with Donald Trump wanting to take over Panama, Greenland, make Canada the 51st state? Well, those guys are going to talk about that. So.
I saw like a joke that was like, he probably wants Greenland because on the map, the flat map, it looks so much bigger than it actually is, and he probably doesn't know.
He thinks this is bigger. Dude, I haven't read too much about it. There's some people that have wrote some things in our world that are kind of controversial, so we're going to be talking about that.
It's such just a fucking wild time to be alive. It is. I cannot believe I'm alive during all this. Like our group chat will just be like, yeah, I guess we're renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America now. It's like, fucking okay.
Yeah, I was. I'll tell you off air. Yeah, I was denied entry when I was coming home the other day.
Hate to hear it.
Yeah, so I'll tell you off air. But thank you guys. So yeah, stick around when the music plays. Stick around, Jordan.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, and I am